Okay, so Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was released in December of 2018, and since then the game has received 10 fighters that can be unlocked through paid DLC, and Ultimate is meant to be receiving 2 more DLC fighters. Now these fighters are usually released every 3 or 4 months, and so seeing as Pyra and Myth are released on the 4th of March, it's safe to assume that the next DLC fighter will release in the next month or 2. But who is the next DLC fighter going to be? Well, in this video I'll be answering that question, and I'll also talk about when I think the next DLC character will be revealed. And before that said, let's start the video. Alright, so when trying to predict who the next DLC fighter will be, there are a lot of things that you need to take into account, such as how important of a role they play in their game, what their moveset would be, how popular they are in different parts of the world, and so on. So taking all of these things into account, I believe that the next DLC fighter will be Master Chief, who is the main character from the Halo series. Now I've got quite a lot of reasons to back up why I think Master Chief will be the next DLC fighter, so before you leave a dislike and an angry comment, just hear me out, and then you can go leave an angry comment and a dislike. Let's look at Fighter Pass 2 for a few seconds. So far in Fighter Pass 2, we've gotten 1 brawler, with that being Min Min, and 3 sword fighters, with those being Pyra and Mythra, Sephiroth, and Steve. And yes, I'm counting Steve as a sword fighter as I don't know what else to classify him, so don't get mad. So, in case you couldn't tell, Fighter Pass 2 had no gunners, and that's where Master Chief comes in, as he would obviously be a gunner, as he primarily uses a gun. Continuing to look at Fighter Pass 2, I'd say that the first 2 fighters are more targeted at everyone but the Japanese, whereas the 3rd and 4th fighters were more targeted towards people who were in Japan. So this leads to me believing that the next fighter will be one that is more wanted in countries outside of Japan, and back in September of 2019, Master Chief was chosen as the 7th most wanted fighter in the US. Now some of you might think that 7th doesn't really mean anything, but there are quite a few more reasons as to why I think that Master Chief will join Ultimate's roster. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. Recently, Master Chief appeared in Fortnite as a limited time skin, and while this doesn't seem like anything crazy on the surface, it does show that Microsoft are willing to put Master Chief, who is one of their most popular characters, into different games that are in different genres, which I think could mean that Microsoft wouldn't mind letting him join Ultimate. Microsoft and Nintendo have been on very good terms throughout the past few years, and obviously seeing as Microsoft own the Halo franchise and all that, this only raises the chances of Master Chief joining the roster. I mean, there are already 2 Microsoft-owned fighters in Smash Ultimate, Nintendo Switches have been appearing on the shelves in the background of Xbox videos, and the 2 companies have even made a few advertisements together in the past. All this only raises the chances of Master Chief joining the roster, and for those of you that think that because there are already 2 Microsoft-owned fighters in the game that we won't get a 3rd, I don't think that really matters at all, as Ultimate is turning more into a celebration of popular video game characters rather than being purely Nintendo characters. The next game in the Halo series, titled Halo Infinite, is said to be releasing sometime in 2021. So I think adding Master Chief to Ultimate around the same time in which Halo Infinite releases would be great advertising for both Nintendo and Microsoft. Obviously, adding Master Chief to Smash will introduce all the Smash Bros players that don't know about Master Chief to the Halo series, which is a win for Microsoft. Then on the other hand, when Halo Infinite is shown off in a trailer or presentation, at the end of the trailer or presentation, Microsoft could mention that Master Chief is in Smash, which might entice Halo fans to buy or at least look into buying Smash Ultimate, which is a win for Nintendo. So both companies will get the bread if Master Chief joins Ultimate's roster, and I'm sure that the 2 companies know this. And those are all the reasons as to why I think Master Chief will be the next DLC fighter for Smash Ultimate. But before I go into when I think Master Chief will release, I want to get it out of the way that Master Chief is not too violent for Smash Ultimate. If you genuinely think that any video game character is too violent for Smash Ultimate, then you're a complete fucking dumbass. As Joker and Solid Snake are both in Ultimate, and they're both pretty violent. So Master Chief being too violent does not have anything to do with his chances of joining Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So when will Master Chief be released? Well, seeing as E3 is around a month away, I think that we're definitely going to see a DLC character be announced, as it would just make sense. I mean, if a DLC fighter was announced at the fucking Game Awards, I don't see why Nintendo wouldn't announce a DLC fighter at the world's largest video game conference. And usually after a DLC fighter is announced to be joining Smash, we have to wait around 2 or so weeks for the character to actually be released. So seeing as E3 is running from the 12th to the 15th of June, I reckon he'll be released at either the very end of June or at the very start of July. And with all that said, it's basically the end of the video. Let me know who you think the next DLC fighter will be in the comments, subscribe to the channel for more epic Nintendo content, leave a like if you enjoyed, and yeah, thank you for watching.